Hey everyone, Duke here, and today we're going over this week's featured Grandmaster Nightfall Arms Dealer. This Nightfall was updated and changed this season to be longer and more challenging, so we're going to focus on some of the biggest changes and going over some tips to help you complete it. The champions for Arms Dealer are Barrier and Unstoppable, so make sure to have a way to deal with both. Take note of the weekly surge and also note that rocket launchers are overcharged weapons, which gives you some extra flexibility in the weapons that you can use for that sweet 25% damage increase. This strike features a bunch of friendly Cabal that will help you fight against the enemies in some of the areas. These have a major positive and negative. The negative side is that it can be a bit more difficult to quickly determine where shots are coming from and where you need to turn your attention, but the positive is that these friendly Cabal can draw a lot of aggro away from you and seem to be unkillable, making the parts that they're a part of significantly easier. There's also a few extra Threshers than in the original version of Arms Dealer. These were nerfed a bit recently, but should still be a top priority for you whenever they spawn. The first outside room is going to have your first Thresher, and you're going to want to take it down before turning your attention to the rest of the battle going on between the two sets of Cabal. After clearing out this area will be one of the bigger changes, which is where you're going to need to take one of the newly introduced cannons to go around the outside and eventually make it to where the strike used to take you. There'll be a few Cleaver Cabal, some Snipers to your right, and a Barrier on your path here. Focus the Cleavers and Snipers first, then finish off the Barrier to activate the next launcher, and make your way to the normal area of the strike. This area is going to be a bit different than before as well. Here there's going to be a mini-boss Cabal that will drop an orb that you need to dunk in the corner to release some friendly Cabal. There will be a number of ads that spawn out the door near this ball-dropping Cabal, as well as 2 barriers that appear in this section. Do note that if the orb you need to dunk despawns for whatever reason, the mini-boss will respawn, so keep an eye out for this. Dunking the orb will cause another set of enemies to spawn, including a Thresher. Make sure to focus down the Thresher first and proceed forward taking out the enemies as they come. There will be an Unstoppable at the far side of the arena here, just like in the previous version of this strike. Once you go through the ship and make it back outside, you're going to notice that you can no longer immediately go left to skip 99% of this section. Instead, you're going to have to go to the right side to defeat some enemies and another mini-boss to dunk an orb and release some more friendly Cabal. Here there will be another Thresher, a few champions, and some sporadic small enemies, and as with most of the rest of this strike, you're going to want to use range to your advantage and focus the Threshers first, and there should be no issue. After dunking this orb, you'll be heading back towards where you used to go in this strike, taking on the numerous enemies along the entrance of the ship. You will have quite a few friendly Cabal fighting with you here, so use them to your advantage. At the very end of this section will be one last mini-boss with an orb to deposit in order to open the door and path forward. The old tank room will still have a tank on the bottom with a few other enemies, but there will be no levers to pull. Instead, proceed forward to where the second tank used to be until enemies spawn out of the doors on your left. At this point, you're going to want to back up as ads will be spawning out of both of these doors on the left, as well as a Tormentor where the second tank used to be. Giving yourself ample range to take out the numerous enemies, champions, and the Tormentor as they push towards you is key towards completing this section. Don't forget that you do have the entire room at your disposal here, and can even run all the way back to the entrance where you first come into the room if things get really hot and you absolutely need to reset and recover. Basically, don't be afraid to play your life and play at range. Once everything has been defeated in this room, the way will be open to the final 2 areas. This final area before the boss room is basically untouched from the original version. Focus the turrets and Unstoppable that will be pushing you from below first, and then progress into the room a bit more to take on the second set of turrets, Barrier Champions, and any other enemies. The only other change to this room is instead of taking on the Cabal drop pod that comes in to spawn a few enemies, they'll just spawn using a spawn animation, and then there will be an additional Unstoppable champion that comes out the door behind this spawn. And finally, we have the boss room. This room has been changed a decent amount, starting with there being 3 hard health gates now. When you first make it into the room, there will be a number of turrets that you're going to want to take out before anything. From here, damage the boss until it jumps up to its first platform. Do note that it seems to be able to do this before the health gate has actually been reached, so make sure to fully hit that health gate so that it puts its dome up and no longer snipes at you during the ads phase. Staying on the far side from the boss will give you some space from the ads that come in here during this phase. Do note a dropship will come in after a few moments with a turret on it. You won't be able to destroy this ship, but you can and should destroy the turret off of it so that it no longer can shoot at you. After defeating all these enemies, pick up the ball that the mini-boss dropped and dunk it next to the boss, which will bring the boss back down and unlock some of your friendly Cabal to help in the fight. Do make sure to not be under the boss tower platform after dunking it, as it will catch on fire. You'll have a few more turrets and some dogs to deal with here, and after taking them out, you can start to focus more damage on the boss. At around 50% of the boss's total HP, more dogs will spawn in, and the boss will head to its opposite tower. Again, make sure to make the boss hit the next health gate so that it puts its dome up and no longer snipes at you for the next phase. This part will have a Thresher come in, so make sure to focus it down ASAP, and once again play the side furthest from the boss to most easily take down the adds that will have spawned in. Then take down the mini-boss and dunk the orb it drops to once again bring down the boss for the final phase. Here, a number of more turrets will spawn in, so you're going to want to play more towards the back of the room, as the boss is also much more aggressive, but you can pretty much just dump everything into the boss here until it has been defeated. I hope this guide to the new arms dealer GM Nightfall was helpful, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.